to hear the diesel coming. You don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. So people get ready. There's a train to Jordan. It's picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key. Open the doors and board them. There's hope for all those who is loved the most. There ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind just to save his own. Believe it now. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner, for there's no hiding place against the kingdom's throne. So people get ready. There's a train coming. You don't need no ticket. You just get on board. You know that faith is the key. If the diesel's humming, you don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. People get ready, y'all. There is a train coming. You don't need no ticket. All you gotta do is just get on board. Faith is the key. Open all them doors and won't you board them? You don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. You don't need no ticket. No, 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 no. You just thank good God Almighty, the Lord. much that shine down on me. Hey. And I'm gonna spread my wings, yeah. And I'm gonna tell all that I see. These, good God Almighty, I wanna feel those happy feelings. I wanna spread them all over the world. These deep in my heart. Happy, happy, happy feelings. Spread some happy feelings. Yes, I do. Oh, happy feelings in the air. I've got my mind to remind me of love. Got this big old heart right here, y'all. And I'm gonna spread this love all over the world. And I believe in love. I'm gonna spread this love all over the world. Oh, from deep in my heart. Deep in my heart, I wanna spread them all over the world. From deep, deep, deep in my heart, I wanna spread love all over the world. Don't you know what the world needs now? Reverend Lisa, Reverend Ronnie, Reverend Gerald is love, sweet love. What the world needs now are these happy feelings. Spread your love all over the world. From deep within my heart. Happy, 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 happy.
Good morning, family. It is good to be home. It is good to see all of you today and to be a part of this morning's experience. God in action. You know, the theme for the month is just so absolutely perfect for each of us as we continue to experience the activity of spirit in our lives. You know, it's interesting that so often we don't think that God is in action because there's not something that's so tangible that's happening for us. But you know, we're living in a critical time, and if you just kind of reflect back on a lot of the activities that we're sort of witnessing, and as we relate those to ourselves, we can get very happy about how Spirit is indeed blessing us. I don't know about you, but I've not gone to the grocery store and have to worry about a mass shooter coming in and taking out a whole lot of people. God was in action each time that we walked into a supermarket and not had that worry and left there without anything happening to us. And for those of you who have children in school or grandchildren, nieces and nephews, you've not had an experience like Uvalde, Texas, where someone called you and told you that there was a mass shooter in the building that was taking out a bunch of kids. God was in action on your behalf, blessing each and every one in your family. And you know, and as you reflect upon all the things that you are doing, today I'd like for you to do just something different. And that is, for those of you who are participating in visioning, release the vision. Let it go. Allow Spirit now to do its work. For every project that you are involved in, let it go. It's time now for the demonstration to unfold. It's now time for the manifestation. For every healing treatment that you have spoken in love and released in the divine presence, now it's time for the expectation of that treatment to unfold. So absolutely let it go. Every work product, everything that you've been actively focusing on up until this moment, prior to entering into this experience today, I invite you to do just something different, and that is just to let it all go so that you can see how God is active in your circumstance and how Spirit is blessing you. While it may not be something that you can grab with your hand, it may not necessarily be something that you are looking at with the physical eye. It may not be something that is walking next to you, but there is a blessing that is adjoining you each and every day. Now is the moment for us all to consciously say that I am open and receptive to my good. You know, the good that you seek, it's seeking you. It is running after you. But because your attention is always so shifted, it's having a hard time catching up. You know, as I was in preparation and I began to think about all the activity of Spirit in our lives and how we are just so constantly being blessed, two words just constantly ring into my consciousness, and that is thank you. And as I reflected on those two words, a song came to mind by the late Walter Hawkins. And he wrote a song that says, thank you. And if you just kind of reflect on some of those lyrics and then personalize them and just think about what it is that's being said. You know, so often when we are hearing music, we get so carried away by the tune that we're not really listening to the words. But just pause for a moment sometime and just listen to the message that's being conveyed to you. And in this song, he says things like, tragedies are commonplace. All kinds of diseases. People are slipping away. The economy's down. People can't get enough pay. He says, folks without homes are in the street. And drug habits, some say, just can't be beat. Muggers and robbers, no place to be safe. But you have been my protection every step of the way. Just to focus on that. All the stuff that is going on around us always, all the time. But God has somehow been that force, has been that energy, has been that love that has surrounded us. And in surrounding us, it has protected us. He says, it could have been me with no food, no clothes, outdoors, or left alone. But every day, by your power, you keep on blessing me. Doesn't that just kind of give you pause to kind of reflect and say, yes, Spirit is in action. And not only is Spirit in action, but Spirit is indeed blessing me. So I want to invite you for a moment to personalize this concept of God blessing you. Forget about everyone else and just kind of focus on the self for just a moment. And if you would, just affirm these words with me. God is in action through me.
God is in action through me.
Now, let's say it once again, but this time let's say it like we mean it. I know that, we're masked up and that kind of muffles our sound a little bit. And the same is for those of you who are watching on your computers and or listening on your phones. I invite you to share with us as we do this affirmation. One of the things I was reflecting on as I was sitting here this morning, I said one of the drawbacks about the mask, and I know they are absolutely necessary and we need to keep them on, but I can't see your smiles. So I have to look at your eyes and see you smiling through your eyes. Smiling eyes. So let's say that once again. God is in action through me.
God is in action through me.
For me.
For me.
And by means of me.
And by means of me.
Now that affirmation is in fact the truth of this experience. God is in action through you. See, Spirit uses you as the avenue by which it operates. There is no other you as it pertains to how the blessings flow in and through your circumstance. So the activity of God is flowing through you, for you, by means of you. Begins to let you know just how wonderful and precious you are. There's an author by the name of James Wyman, and he wrote a book called The Moses Code. And in this, he claims that this code is the most powerful manifestation tool in the history of the world. He said basically the code is the true function and practice really of the law of attraction. Now, the author states that a code has been locked into your soul. Code has been locked into your soul. And as you seek it out, you will discover that you are the child of the divine, possessing the power to create. Now, the power is inherently yours. The key to it has been locked within you, and you've been set free to go and investigate and find it for yourself. But could you imagine for a moment the grand discovery that happens in the experience of those that happen to discover that code? If this code has the power that the author claims that it has, imagine the impact into your circumstance. Imagine how it lifts you from where you are now and takes you to the place where you desire to go. And what is this other than God in action, Spirit in action within you? Spirit has deposited within each of us everything we need, everything that we could ever potentially need for our own expansion in this great experience that we call our lives. And then dared us to do one thing in order to discover it. And that is just to turn to the Christ within ourselves. Somehow when we make that turn to go within, seeking to discover the greatness that is inherently ours, something happens to us. Imagine. Goodness, power, all this dormant within each of us and will remain dormant until we make the discovery. So if we can believe that, when we ask ourselves, then why is it that we wait till a Sunday morning when we're in a session such as this to begin to think about going to seek that code? about trying to find the key that will unlock the greatness that has been stored within us, trying to release the blessings that we claim that we really would like to experience. See, it has to be an experience beyond Sunday morning. Something has to have a continuation once we leave and go beyond these doors. You imagine, when we come in here, our goal should be primarily that, listen, I'm going to be a light in the life of someone else. Because it's as I bless someone else, I allow myself to be blessed. You know, someone is watching you all the time. And especially those of us who make it known that, you know, we are members of a New Thought congregation, that we love God, that we believe in God, and we believe that the power of God is indeed our power. Well, someone is watching you to see how you manifest what it is that you are saying. So when you turn and you embody that Christ, there should be an expectation of something happening, not in a far distant time, but immediately, right now. See, the moment you completely embody this understanding, and that is the possession of this power, then you will create an attitude of expectancy, always, all the time. You know, isn't it interesting that still, for so many of us in our prayer treatment, we're still hoping and wishing that something will happen, rather than having evolved to a place of knowing, and knowing and operating from a place of expectancy. You know, I don't know about you, but when I turn within seeking something, my expectation is that something is happening then. Not waiting for me to see it manifest before me, but know that it is unfolding even in that moment. And that's why we, hear about this little thing that's called faith, that we need to put in operation all the time. It's wonderful to talk about, but it's another thing to practice. And this is a moment of our practicing. See, there becomes a time where we need to pause from trying to unite with Spirit and to operate from a place of consciously knowing that we're already there. You know, it's interesting when someone comes and they're talking to us about the steps of treatment, and we're still sort of going through those, and it's like, at what point do we graduate? At what point do we arrive at a knowing? You know, it's like when you have a child and you take them to grade school and you expect them to learn the fundamentals there. When they leave grade school and they move to the next level, the expectation is that you've already completed that understanding, and that you are taking those tools now and you're moving with them into the rest of your life. Well, the same thing is true when we understand spiritual principles. When we have absorbed the basics, when we have laid claim to this understanding that, listen, God is right where I am, and not just only right where I am, but doing something through me, as me, by means of me. And therefore, my expectation is that good and great and wonderful things are going to happen. Don't you believe that that's why the master teacher said, listen, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of its righteousness. Once again, someone is telling us to seek out something. And the something that we're requested to seek out is the something that is within us. The kingdom of God is within you. But when you discover it, that's when you can celebrate. When you discover it, then you know that you're in possession of greatness. When you discover it, you know that you're in possession of power. And that's why he said, then everything else is added unto you. Because you've discovered the key. You've unlocked the secret. In unlocking the secret, you've opened the windows of goodness and allowed it just to flow into your circumstance. I want you to just pause for a moment and feel the activity of Spirit. And know this, that God is expressing itself as you and is evolving into visibility through you. Now, take a deep breath again and just relax and reflect on that word that I've just spoken. And then I want you to speak these words into your consciousness. Now, in speaking these words, it means that you're going to have to maybe extend your thinking and extend your consciousness from where you were, but that's what it's all about. And say something like this: I am the glory of God made manifest. All that I am, God is. I am a consciousness of possibilities. Now, reflect on what it is that you're saying, because it's powerful when you say it, because when you're saying it, you're able to embody the words that are coming through you. That you are the glory of God made manifest. And that is the greatness of God, the demonstrations of Spirit. All that it has is coming through you. And therefore, you are the glory of God that is made manifest. Called by whatever name that you call yourself. In all that you are, God is. And therefore, you are conscious of possibilities. Not just limited by the things that you are seeing in front of you, not just limited by the things that you are hearing, but possibilities. Within you, there is unformed good that is waiting for you to release it and to give it form as an experience. Within you, there is great potential waiting for you to release it and to let it go. So, as you think about your circumstances and everything that is going on with you, just think, you are able to change it all because you are a consciousness of possibilities. Whatever difficulties that you have been dealing with up until this point, whatever goal that you have set for yourself, that you've been striving towards up until this point, whatever great thing that you've been seeking to manifest up until this point, become aware that you are a consciousness of possibilities. Therefore, the good that you have been seeking is seeking you, and now is the time for you all to come together. That's how Spirit is in action. See, when we understand that in the consciousness of the self, there awaits the energy of your belief and direction. And we can personalize that and say, in the consciousness of myself, there is the energy to bless my beliefs and my acceptances. How can the greatness of God in you become demonstrated? The challenge for us to go out of here with today. How can the greatness of God within you be demonstrated? You know, a lot of us are just satisfied just doing the same thing day in and day out, year in and year out. And that's fine, because you're satisfied doing that. But then there are others that believe that there is greater good for them. They understand that the first law of the universe was to be fruitful and to multiply. And therefore, that means that there is a continuation. We don't just arrive at a plateau and we just kind of stay there. We look for another mountain to climb because we know that there's another greater good that's awaiting us, and God has given us the ability to climb the next mountain. Because even after we've reached that top, we're no longer satisfied because we have achieved that. And we go on to something else. You know why? Because possibilities and greatness are ours. These are the gifts of the Spirit to us. So if we've been gifted with this, then why have we limited ourselves? And then why we stay in stagnation, and why do we enjoy limitation? It can't be because we don't know any better. No. We've been coming here way too long to claim that. Maybe it's because of the way that we think. See, we are creatures of habit. And a lot of us are just stuck in a place. And today I invite you to unstick yourself. Because you are greater than that experience that you've been locked in. See, we've locked ourselves someplace, but our mouths are saying that we want more. We've locked ourselves in someplace, but the energy of our being is saying that I want more. There is something within us that is pushing us, wanting more and more. You know, even when I'm not here, I'm watching all of you on Zoom. I'm at home, like everyone else, enjoying the Sunday morning service. And I heard Reverend Lisa say in one of her lessons that where we are right now, this building, and our ability to acquire it and to pay it off so quickly was the result of God in action. And that is the truth. A word was spoken, but not only a word spoken, it was a word spoken that was believed in. And therein lies the difference. See, when you say something and you believe in it, and you know that your word has power, and once you release that word, then you follow it because you know that it's leading you to your good. You know, so often we're saying, well, I need a sign. I want God to give me a sign before I believe that something is unfolding. Well, I want you to leave here today knowing that you are the sign. There is going to be no other. You are the sign. But you have to arrive at a moment where you believe that your word is power. Your word is anointed. Your word comes from a divine place. Your word comes from a place empowered by spirit, and that's how you are a possibility thinker. And that's how you open yourself up to even greater good, because you're willing to push beyond where you are at. See, we sat and we received the vision. And not only did we just hunt for a vision, but then we moved. You know, as Dr. Holmes said, after you treat, you got to move your feet. You don't just say, I want something, and just keep sitting in the same chair. You get up. And then you move, because you know that in movement, something is going to lead you, something is going to guide you, something is going to direct you, but it will not as long as you stay in the chair. Now, you've locked yourself in that place. On one hand, you're saying that you are blessed with possibilities, but on the other hand, you have tied yourself to stillness. See, you have to decide within yourself, which one is it going to be? Are you going to be open and receptive and allow yourself to be led and guided to something greater? Or are you willing to just enjoy complacency? The choice is yours. See, there is a genius in you waiting an avenue to express itself. And you have got to believe that. There is this genius in you, and we see it happening all around us. You know, last week I was sharing with the folks over at Guidance that, you know, Tesla has announced that it's going to build a humanoid robot. And it is already unfolding. They're going to put it in production next year. Now, what is this other than creativity? And someone believing in possibility. But see, the wonderful thing is that when God poured it forth, it didn't just give it to one person, it poured it out to all. It said, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Now, once again, somebody was complacent and enjoyed being locked in their complacency, where someone else was all about discovery and willing to allow the energy of spirit as it directs them and as it motivated them and as it guided them to move forward into receipt of greater good. You know, Dr. Ernest Holmes says that, you know, we run for the fragments when we have advantage of the whole.
Imagine that. All the blessings have been poured out, and we are afraid to act. Can you imagine in that instance in the scripture where it talks about when Jesus gave a lesson and there was a multitude of people and they were hungry, and he asked what did they have to feed them with, and they said, we just have a few little loaves of bread and some fish. And what did he do? He looked beyond what it was that they had. He took what they had, he lifted up, and he gave thanks. And that caused the good to become multiplied. Have you ever tried that in your experience? Or do you just get locked into what it is that you see? You see limitation, and you now all of a sudden assume that you are just limited. You're unwilling to push yourself beyond that. But imagine the master giving us this great lesson to not allow ourselves to judge by appearances, but to look beyond the appearance and know that on the other side of that is greatness. And that's something that we have to believe. Once again, let's affirm something. Let's put another idea in consciousness, if you will. Say this word. The genius of God is revealing itself.
The genius of God is revealing itself
Through me as a creative master. Let's think. The genius of God is revealing itself through me as a creative master. Imagine that. See, you're not that because you've not claimed that. You haven't experienced it because you don't believe that. But when you claim it, believe it, and expect it, then what happens? We allow it to unfold within our circumstance. We allow it to bless us. We allow it to energize us. Why? Because now we have a new lease on life. There's something else that we want to do, another goal that we have created for ourselves. And one thing about goals that is, as we satisfy them, we find another one because the mind becomes very hungry. We're demonstrating to ourselves greater and greater successes. Then we're moving forward in those successes. Now, how does God do all that? I don't know. And quite honestly, don't care. The blessing is that God does it. And that's what we want. Not to get caught up in a process, not to know how it's going to unfold, not to worry about what ingredient Spirit is going to bring in its creation of the good that we're seeking, but just to allow it to happen. You know, that healing that you've been looking for and expecting is not happening because you've not allowed it to happen. That prosperity that you say that you need has not demonstrated itself into your circumstance because you've not allowed it to happen. You're not believing it. When you leave this place this morning, and as you walk to your car, or as if you walk home, as Reverend Gerald did this morning, well, I'd like for you just to repeat into your conscious mind, I am the glory of God made manifest. And I want you just to continue to say that until there is nothing within you that has conflict with that. There is nothing within you that gives you pushback, but rather that everything about that word is absorbed into your consciousness. I am the glory of God made manifest. When you are out walking or jogging or exercising or doing whatever the things are that you do, I want you to just say that. If you're sitting at a desk at work and you have a pause in between the hundreds of Zoom meetings that we're constantly on, I want you just to say that to yourself. I am the glory of God made manifest. You know, and when you say that to a point where you absolutely absorb those words and believe it, then a vision all of a sudden will come to you, and you will see this. You will see how glory begins to unfold, how change begins to take place, how greatness begins to happen, how doors begin to open, how creativity begins to flow, how blessing after blessing becomes your way. Why? Because each and every time something good unfolds, you know what's happening? God is getting glory out of that. And that's how you are the glory of God made manifest. So from now on, the rest of this week, allow that to be your constant focus as you pause, as you lay in your bed just before you go to sleep at night. If it's the last conscious word that you speak into the essence around you, say it. I am the glory of God made manifest. See, something is trying to come through you, and it needs you to open the door. Peace and blessings to you this morning.
That was a wonderful message, by the way. He knows my name. He knows my name. Ooh. He knows my name. He knows my name. And oh, how he walks with me. And oh, how he talks with me. And oh, how he tells me that I am his own. Lord, you know my name. Ooh, yes, you know my name. You know my name. Yes, you know my name. And oh, how you comfort me. And oh, how you counsel me. Woo. And oh, how you tell me that I am your own. And it still amazes me that I am your friend. Oh, I'm your friend. So now never forget it. He knows all the hairs on your head, knows what you're going through, knows how you feel, know when you're down and blue, know when you're up and in. He knows your name. Yes, he does. He knows your name. He knows your name. Don't you ever forget it.